Walter Mitty, a mild-mannered man in his early 40s, sits at his desk at Life magazine, where he works as a negative asset manager. His job is to handle film negatives sent by famous photographers, including the legendary Shawn. Walter is meticulous, spending hours in the dimly lit archive room, organizing photographs with care. Despite his dedication, Walter leads a mundane life, often escaping into elaborate daydreams where he imagines himself as a daring hero. He frequently zones out, lost in his fantasies, envisioning himself saving lives, performing heroic feats, or standing up to his arrogant boss Ted Hendricks, who belittles employees. One morning, as he attempts to send a wink to his colleague Cheryl Melhoff on an online dating site, a technical issue stops him. Feeling frustrated, he calls customer service, speaking to Todd Marr, a representative who becomes a minor but consistent presence in Walter's life. Todd offers friendly encouragement and advises Walter to be more adventurous if he wants to make a lasting impression on Cheryl. Walter's thoughts are abruptly interrupted when Ted, the transition manager overseeing the magazine's shift from print to digital, announces layoffs. The pressure mounts as Walter realizes his quiet, stable world is being upended. At work, Walter receives a package from Shawn, including negatives and a wallet as a gift, with a note that photo number 25 is the perfect image for the magazine's final cover. Walter searches through the negatives, but realizes that 25 is missing. His anxiety grows as Ted pressures him to deliver the image quickly, making it clear that failure could cost him his job. Cheryl notices Walter's concern and offers to help him recall where he might have misplaced the negative. Walter, nervous but grateful, finds himself drawn to her kindness. He stammers while explaining the situation, slightly embarrassed but appreciative of her willingness to help. With no immediate solution, Walter attempts to track Shawn's whereabouts. Cheryl suggests looking at the other images for clues, leading them to a picture of a stretch of mountains and a ship. Walter hesitates, but finally takes a bold step. He decides to leave his comfort zone and chase the mystery. As he walks out of the office, the weight of his decision sinks in, and for the first time, he realizes he is about to embark on a real adventure rather than just daydreaming about one. Walter boards a flight to Greenland, following a clue from Shawn's pictures. He is out of his element, nervously gripping his seat and occasionally glancing at other passengers, who seem far more relaxed. Upon arrival, he enters a near-empty bar, its walls adorned with old maritime photographs and the smell of salt lingering in the air. A local man, rugged and with a thick accent, recognizes Shawn from a photograph. The man tells Walter that Shawn left on a fishing boat and suggests he might catch up by taking a helicopter ride. As Walter contemplates his next move, his imagination takes over, and he pictures Cheryl singing to him, encouraging him to be courageous. The warm vision fades as he is snapped back to reality by the burly helicopter pilot, who is slightly inebriated and insists Walter get aboard. Walter hesitates, terrified, but then, summoning newfound courage, he jumps aboard. The choppy flight takes an even wilder turn when the pilot insists Walter jump into the ocean to reach the ship. The thought of leaping into open waters is paralyzing, but with no other choice, he takes the plunge. Walter flails in the icy water before being rescued by the fishing crew, gasping for breath but exhilarated by his first real act of bravery. Walter, soaking wet and shivering, sits aboard the fishing vessel, explaining his search for Shawn. The sailors, amused by his cluelessness, inform him that Shawn left them days ago and is now headed toward Iceland. Walter, though frustrated, feels a growing sense of determination. Before leaving, he receives another clue, a picture of Shawn with a volcano in the background. The ship crew, entertained by Walter's strange but admirable mission, offers him dry clothes and a warm meal. As they share stories, Walter feels a sense of camaraderie he rarely experiences in his daily life. As the ship approaches the Icelandic coast, Walter must once again find a way to his next destination. With the help of a friendly crew member, he secures a bike and starts pedaling through the scenic yet unpredictable Icelandic terrain. The fresh air, the vast landscapes, and the sheer thrill of taking risks give Walter an unfamiliar but welcome rush. As he cycles, he sees another vision of Cheryl, encouraging him to embrace adventure. However, his journey takes a perilous turn when he rides into a town where an active volcano is erupting. The ground trembles beneath him as dark smoke fills the sky, and Walter finds himself in the midst of an evacuation. Fear grips him as he sees lava flows in the distance, but he pedals furiously, dodging panicked townsfolk and emergency vehicles. The situation grows chaotic, and Walter barely manages to board a bus heading away from danger, his adrenaline pumping from the close call. After escaping the eruption, Walter arrives at a small village, still determined to track Shawn. He stops at a travel agency to gather information, showing the staff Shawn's photograph. A worker identifies the landscape from the image as a remote mountain range where Shawn is known to photograph rare wildlife. Walter, realizing he has to push even further beyond his limits, gears up for the next phase of his journey. With a renewed sense of purpose, Walter calls Todd from eHarmony, who enthusiastically encourages him, reminding him that adventure stories like his are rare. Walter's confidence grows, though doubt still lingers in his mind. The old Walter might have given up by now, but something inside him is changing. That night, as he rests in a small lodge, he reflects on how far he has come, For the first time in years, he feels alive. The sensation is strange yet wonderful. He pulls out Shawn's gift, the wallet, and studies it closely, running his fingers over its stitching. Why had Shawn chosen this as a gift? Was it symbolic? Walter knows the missing negative holds the key to everything, and he resolves to continue his journey, unaware of how much more it will transform him. Walter's journey leads him to the Himalayas, where Shawn was last spotted photographing a rare snow leopard. The vast snow-covered mountains stretch endlessly before him as he secures a local guide to help him navigate the treacherous terrain. The air is thin and each step is a challenge, but Walter pushes forward, driven by the need to find Shawn and the missing negative. As they ascend higher, Walter's endurance is tested, and he starts questioning his limits. The journey is exhausting, but with each step, he feels a sense of purpose, unlike anything he has ever known. After hours of trekking, Walter and his guide finally spot Shawn in the distance, perched on a ridge with his camera, completely immersed in his work. Walter calls out, his voice barely carrying over the wind. Shawn turns, a knowing smile spreading across his face, as if he had expected Walter all along. The moment feels surreal. Walter Mitty, the daydreamer, has made it to one of the most remote places on Earth. He takes a deep breath, knowing that this moment is unlike anything he has ever imagined in his fantasies. The reality of his adventure surpasses any daydream he had ever conjured. Walter approaches Shawn, breathless from both the altitude and excitement. He demands to know where -25 is. Shawn, unfazed, invites Walter to sit beside him. He motions for Walter to look through his camera lens, directing his attention to the elusive snow leopard. Walter hesitates, but peers through, seeing the magnificent creature in its natural habitat. The animal is perfectly still, its piercing eyes scanning the landscape. Shawn explains that some moments are so perfect that he chooses not to photograph them, simply enjoying them as they are. Walter is both amazed and confused. He presses Shawn again about the missing negative. Shawn chuckles and casually tells him it was in the wallet he had sent. Walter is stunned. All this time, the answer had been with him. He had traveled across the world in search of something he already had. Shawn, sensing Walter's internal struggle, reassures him that the journey itself was what mattered. The wisdom in Shawn's words lingers, making Walter reflect deeply on his own life. For years, he had let his imagination do the living for him, but now he had truly experienced the world in a way he never thought possible. Shawn offers Walter a drink from his flask, and they sit in companionable silence, watching the sunset over the peaks. There is no rush, no urgency, just the quiet realization that Walter has changed. Realizing his mission is complete, Walter bids farewell to Shawn and begins his journey back home. The descent down the mountains feels different. He is no longer the same man who first set out on this adventure. As he travels back through airports and cities, Walter is filled with a quiet confidence. He no longer needs his daydreams to feel alive. He has lived them. Upon arriving home, Walter immediately retrieves the wallet Shawn had given him. He carefully inspects it, and just as Shawn had said, -25 is tucked safely inside. A wave of relief and disbelief washes over him. He rushes to Life magazine's office, determined to deliver the negative to Ted before the final issue goes to print. When he arrives, however, Ted dismisses him coldly, belittling him in front of the staff. Walter, no longer intimidated by his boss, stands his ground. He tosses the wallet onto Ted's desk and walks away without another word, leaving Ted to discover the significance of what he just received. As Walter exits the office, he doesn't look back. He knows his worth now, and it no longer depends on the approval of someone like Ted. With his job at Life officially over, Walter takes time to reflect on his experiences. He learns that Cheryl has been laid off as well, but when he tries to reconnect with her, he mistakenly believes she has gotten back with her ex-husband. Disheartened, he resumes his normal routine, but everything feels different. The quiet, uneventful life he once knew now seems dull compared to the adventures he has lived. Todd from eHarmony calls again, congratulating Walter on completing an incredible journey. Todd expresses admiration for Walter's courage, making Walter realize that he has become the adventurous man he always imagined in his daydreams. He laughs at the irony. His real life has become more exciting than the fabricated stories he used to escape into. As Walter walks through the streets of New York, he sees a newsstand featuring the final issue of Life magazine. Curiosity piqued, he buys a copy and flips to the cover. His breath catches. -25 is an image of him sitting outside the Life building, lost in thought, unaware that Shawn had captured him in a rare, authentic moment. It is a photograph of his true self, a testament to the transformation he had undergone without even realizing it. Walter is overwhelmed with emotion. Shawn had seen something in him that he never saw in himself, a man worthy of being the final cover of Life magazine. The realization cements the transformation he has undergone. He is no longer just a man who dreams, he is a man who acts. Walter walks with a newfound confidence. As he strolls through the city, he bumps into Cheryl. He finally musters the courage to ask her out properly, and she smiles, agreeing. There is no need for elaborate fantasies anymore. His real life has become the adventure he once only imagined. Walter's journey, both literal and internal, has reshaped his identity. His initial quest for the missing negative led him on an adventure that forced him to step out of his comfort zone, face his fears, and embrace the unknown. In the end, he not only finds the negative, but also discovers his own worth. The transformation is complete as Walter Mitty, once a passive dreamer, becomes a man who truly lives. His story ends not with an extravagant fantasy, but with the quiet satisfaction of knowing he has finally taken control of his own life. As he and Cheryl walk away together, Walter glances at the magazine cover one last time. He smiles, not because he is daydreaming, but because he finally sees himself as the man he always wanted to be. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this movie recap, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting stories. Until next time, stay curious.